Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today I thought I'd do a review on a product that I use often, but they reformatted into something really convenient for me and probably for you. It is the Arches Travel Journal. It's spiral bound. It has 15 sheets and it has the 140-pound paper that we usually use with the pads all into one little book here. And the inside it has, in the back, has a thick piece of cardboard, so it's kind of convenient if you're like sketching, urban sketching. It's going to be a little stiff so you can go out into the field and use this. I go over this paper. We've used this paper many times. I do a little floral tutorial and it says thankful because I'm super thankful for all my viewers here on YouTube, especially with Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. I wanted to say thank you so much for supporting me all these years. You're amazing, you're awesome, and I'm loving how you guys are growing as artists. I also am doing a review on two brushes that I got from Princeton. This is the Princeton 12 Aqua Elite and the 10 Velvet Touch Series round. They're both rounds, actually. I really was looking for a big brush with a nice point and a nice belly, and this Princeton 12 Aqua Elite fits the bill. Loving it. So let's get to our tutorial on using the paper and the paintbrushes. I always love to paint with new stuff. I don't know about you, but it's like my favorite thing. And because Christmas is around the corner, maybe you can tell your family and friends, this is what you get me. If you haven't had this yet, or any of these brushes, especially this one, if you really like to paint big flowers and stuff like that, the 12. So without further ado, let's get started on the tutorial. So as you can see, here's the book again. Unlike, the pads, this has a spiral binding, right? And the pads you can rip off. The pad is definitely more cost effective. But if you're traveling and you want to have arch paper and you want some big bulky pad, and you can fit this small pad, you can fit this probably in like a tote bag, a nice pocketbook size. It's 6 by 10. So you have, 15 sheets, and then the back has like a thick piece of cardboard, I think for stability purposes. And then just in the piece in the back. And then I have my new brushes that I talked about, my Princeton Aqua Elite 12 round and my number 10 Velvet Touch Series round. So what I was really looking for with these brushes, I really wanted a big brush that had a really great tip I could play around with, and same with this one. So when it gets wet, it's a pointy enough tip that I can draw some fine lines, but then it has a nice big belly, whereas the 12 Neptune series, you see how this is just really kind of floppy. This has a little more stiffness to it, by the way, and this is just really floppy. This is great for like floppy kind of washes, and this is a little more, tight, so you have more stability in painting some florals, whatnot. So today, I'm breaking away from my constant Christmas mode. We're a day before Thanksgiving. Let's do something that's kind of, in those kind of color tones. And I wrote the word thankful already because I'm very thankful for all my viewers, and I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving in the United States, and thankful for people all around the globe who watch my channel every day. So here we go. We're going to take the Princeton Aqua Elite number 12. Let's play around with that. And let's play around with simple colors. I don't really want to go crazy. I've got the yellow here. This is cadmium yellow deep. And I have magenta. If you just had magenta, yellow, and I would say peacock blue. If you want that bright green, see? Oh, that's not peacock blue. And that was my Prussian blue, but that's okay. The peacock blue's over here. I love painting in real time. But peacock blue, but then if you want a darker blue to make darker greens, you do need kind of the Prussian blue. So you can just use like yellow, magenta, and peacock blue to make all the colors you want, like for bright colors. And if you want to add in a darker element, you would add in the Prussian blue and maybe some Paynes gray. But just four colors, really, you can just make everything on the rainbow. So I'm going to go grab some yellow, put it in this pink, make an orange tone. Do some reds too. I like to mix my red, and you make red with magenta and yellow, and depending on how much yellow you add, see, it's like orange, and then you add more red, pink, and you use this back and forth kind of dance, grabbing more yellow. And then you have like a control over the kind of red you want. It could be a cherry red. There's a lot of water in here. I want to lift some of this water up. It can be more of an orange red with the two tones. You see that? Add more magenta and the yellow, and you can look at that pretty red. It's like more of an orange red, which is working fine for me. So I'm just going to show you just how I use this brush. Simple strokes for simple folks. So here's that orange color. I'm going to mix up some more. I can make more of a blushy tone by adding some more of this magenta. Just play around with the colors. So I want to just do all kind of like the outside area and leave this kind of simple. And let's just see. I kind of like move my brush this way and that way when I'm painting florals. See, moving. Now this is arch paper. It has a tooth, it soaks it up. So it's not as smooth as the hot press where you can kind of really maneuver and move the paint. See how I just did the simple strokes like that? And see, you can see the point. It has a great point. So you could do fine lines. Whereas the Princeton Neptune series will not. See, I have a little outlined here. So I could do like a little outline if I wanted to. And then kind of fill in some of the color. You know, when you're doing flowers, they don't have to be perfect, that they're filled in everywhere. Try something like that. Let's get this. This is more of a blushy kind of color. I'm just playing with the brush. And see, you end up with a lot of dry brush. There's a lot of texture to this paper if you have never used arch paper before. And I have to admit, many times that I hated this paper when I first started using it. I really did. I was so like I said, it soaks it up. I never really cared for this paper until I got used to it. And then I loved it because it's the best paper for wet on wet. So this is still kind of a little bit damp, and you go back over here and bleed a little bit. See the nice point on this brush? And all I did was just make these simple movements. Just this kind of back and forth kind of movement. See? Back and forth. Holding it on its side, like a 45-degree angle. And you can see some dry brush happening. Get closer. Right in here because of the paper with the texture. I'm going to grab more water on my brush. Just this back and forth, kind of in a rounded triangle. I can kind of round the edges. I can put the point, you see that, of this brush. So I don't know if there's necessarily any kind of particular flower, but I just like making that. So I'm kind of going, like I said, I'm round. I'm picturing it as an oval here. If you have to draw it, draw it. I'm going to put this blushy tone here. So now I'm kind of making more typical petals and leaving all that nooks and crannies, I call it, of like the white spots from the flowers. Grab some more yellow. Gonna make some more yellow tone, almost like a sunflower. And here. See, now you're just adding different elements. Point to point. Now I haven't used a 10 yet. See what I'm saying? That's why I wanted a big brush with a great point and a big belly to hold all the paint. It's fantastic. I thought I also would play with some of my pencils today too in this particular sketchbook. I'm just making a typical, almost like daisy kind of petals here. Put a little one peeking back here. I like to move around the page with the colors. I think that helps your eye move around. Otherwise, it's going to get, you know, it depends on the kind of composition that you want. Do you want the person to move all around the page? Do you want them to move to the left or the right? You have to think consciously sometimes about where you want the viewer to look. So here are the same petals. Now I'll go back in and I'll add some more of this. Maybe a little bit pinker, maybe more redder. A little bit more red. See, I add some more magenta, a little bit of yellow, and it's deeper red. And I can see the tip of this brush and kind of do this wiggles on the outline with that deeper red and give it some more depth. I'm going to add just a little flower here, so I'm just going to hold it on its side. Kind of like a anemone kind of type flower. Starting to look a little springy, so I'm going to change it up. Got a little bit deeper colors in here. You always want to start off kind of light and then build to dark, because if you start off dark, then you're stuck. If you start off light, you're not stuck. Going around the page here. I'm going to add some brown on this one. I'm just going to be cheating. I can use the 3 colors, but I'm going to cheat today and use my burnt umber. So, and add a little Payne's gray to that. Make a little darker brown. Kind of wing it out with the tip. Some branches. Kind of wiggling here and there. Coming down in here. This is starting to guide me for where I want to put some leaves or branches with berries. So you're playing around with shapes and see the twigs, all that kind of fun stuff. Don't be afraid to maybe put some gray flowers or brown kind of flowers, brown kind of elements, because it's like, in my opinion, Thanksgiving time. So you just do little dashes that connect. It's a little bit wet, so I'll tap it on a paper towel or add more pigment. See, just these little dashes, and I kind of connect them with the stem. Still using this number 12. See how versatile it is? It just gets those little points. You get used to it. Little dashes. Some might look like little blobs. I'm not really concerned at this point. So we can play with more colored flowers or start to put in some colored leaves. Now this green is too bright that I had mixed up earlier. I'm going to add some burnt umber to it. Go back and add my Prussian blue and some more yellow. And I'll get like a nice deep green. That's not too bright. So now I'll get that green. Wiggle, wiggle. You can just kind of push down. Push. See how I just went push and pulled up. Pushed and pulled up. Pushed and pulled up. And you get that dry brush kind of effect. Really simple. Has a really cool look to it. Get a little bit darker in some of these. I'll be fixing this guy's look a little too light. And add a little more brown to my green. It's always a simple kind of movement. I don't like to fuss too much. It's kind of the name of the game for me. Zoom out a little bit more so you can see the process. So we played with the 12 a lot. Let's play with the 10 a little bit. I actually haven't played with this. I'm going to make some orange colors. A little bit brighter. So it's going to be a little more stiff, but then it has actually a real big point. See, when you have a point like this, you struggle a little more trying to get it rounder on the edges. But it's good for, see, I'm putting the little veins in here on this little quasi sunflower daisy thing here. So if you want a little more control with some line work, that's what you use this one for. So now adding in another value, taking the tip of this, going around. You can come back in here, add little bright orange flowers, those little stems. See how I'm kind of building it all up. Get some more orange tone that's deeper. A little red to it. Again, put that another flower out here. And I'm really going to get a red flower in here. Reddish brown. I'm going to add some of that burnt umber. You can use it for lines. See, I can go back. This is so pale and pink. I might just go in and just fix it. Water this part down. And go right over that color because I thought it was too pale. Very springy. And we don't want it that color. Go back over this one. So you can leave some of the light parts that you painted first, and then go over it with the dark. Again, add this one over here. Depending on what colors you used, you can do the same thing for mostly reds. Add some golds, and it'll be Christmas. just playing with this. This is just the process that I go through. And then orange for this one. It's very pale. And go back into it. So this one has way more control with the tip than the 12 Aqua Elite because it's stiffer and has a bigger point. See how I just left that still open, like that white spot? I'm really into that. Add some more orange kind of flowers over here. And we don't really need to get to fill everything in. And I feel like the green is one note, so we're going to add some yellow to that green that we have here already mixed up, and it's more of a olivey but a little bit brighter green. And we'll mix that in. You don't want just one note green. See, I'm just kind of just tapping and twisting my brush and just kind of pulling it out. Because this paper creates that dry brush instantly. If you don't have a lot of water on, a lot of pigment and water on your brush, it will just soak up what you have and it will be very dry looking. Which in many cases I create, and I like to do that. See, I'm filling in the spaces now, adding in some green. Just kind of wiggling the brush. This is all I do, really, to create some of the flowers that I have. Almost done here. The center can be really deep and dark, browns, blacks. So I've got the burnt umber, Paynes gray. Just kind of wiggle that in there. I always leave a little white. I call it little halo, but add a little dark color in here. You can put yellow in here or brown, but I'm going to do the brown-black colors just to pop it. See how it just pops? It's not super black. It's got that tinge of brown in it, so it's not as intense. I don't think it depends on how you want it. If you want it super intense, maybe add way more Paynes gray in some areas. So I'm good. Yeah, that one's a little more Paynes gray, so it's a little blacker. And I'm putting that in all the little areas. That just took like 2 seconds to do this. Now, I have the words way up here. I kind of put them down here. I'll have to rewrite that. So I thought it'd be fun to actually add some, this is watercolor pencil, but even color pencil, you could do this. Just kind of go around your areas too. It just adds another element to your design. It doesn't have to be this perfect watercolored floral. I've got a brown here. It's more like a burnt sienna color. Get more creative. You can add some veins in here if you want. Even add like a red. Throw everything in the kitchen sink if you want at your little book. So it's just like arch paper that we played with. It's just that you're going to be painting on a smaller scale, and you can just flip through it because it has that spiral. So of course I'm going to love it because it's convenient, and then it's arch paper. So here I'm going to get even deeper with my red. I'm going to throw in a little Prussian blue. We got that, look at that. It's like that cranberry red. Playing around, adding some darker tones, wiggling to the tip. It's just really great. I just wiggle some just fine lines around, kind of sometimes hitting the outside and then wiggling from the middle outward. Again, even on this one, use the same color. The more you play, the better you'll get. It's a constant thing. And I know it's kind of expensive to play with arch paper, but unless you play with it, you don't know how you can actually maneuver with it. And it takes time. I mean, like I said, I hated this paper the moment I got it, and I just kept at it. And I've been painting for a long time, and if I'm keeping at it, then you have to do the same thing. So I kind of use this color all around. Gonna add more yellow, becomes more like brown, and I can kind of go in here in the orange, wiggle in this color. Can add little berries over in here. But I think this is it. I think we're done here. I'm going to finish my word. And I wrote it in pencil. I could keep it in pencil. I think it's too far up here now. I'll have to write it in pencil again. Just a mechanical pencil. And then you can just take a marker, like a Sharpie or something, so you can write it neatly. I'm going to go back in here, just kind of erase this a little bit. See, I love the way I wrote it the first time, and now sometimes that happens to everybody where, damn it, it's not the same thing when you do it the second time around. And that's that. So, loving it. Oh, and actually, if you did that marker, you can go in here and do marker too. But I'm not going to do that. So I am thankful for my wonderful YouTube followers, everybody who supported me for the past few years on this journey on YouTube. And I hope you're enjoying my tutorials, my videos. I'm really loving the exploration of creating, and I hope you are too. And it's always good to just play. I know people get so frustrated because you know what it is? You have imposter syndrome. Please don't do that. Please don't look at other people's stuff and say, oh, she paints so well and this one's so great. Everyone's on their own journey and their own due time. I know it's hard to think that because you get frustrated because you want it to look a certain way, but that is not maybe who you are as an artist. I'm adding a dark green because when all that dried, I'm going to go back in like I did with the orange and the other colors and add in a deeper green. Don't get yourself upset and frustrated because it didn't come out like the picture you saw. It's going to come out the way it's supposed to come out for you. You know, when you're growing as an artist, it's not going to be this instantaneous thing. That's not called growth. You didn't learn anything. Growth is about learning. And you didn't learn anything if you're painting exactly like the thing and realize, I didn't come out the same way. Well, it shouldn't. It should come out the way it's supposed to come out for you. I'm going in and add some deeper browns and blacks and see how just kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, just pulls it out. I want you not to get frustrated. I want you to enjoy your painting. It's a process. It takes time to develop your style. And how you develop your style faster is painting every day. Painting every day and not looking at other things. Like just go look at the nature outside. Just try and draw it and paint it. That's how you're going to grow. And play with the materials. The combination of playing with materials, looking at things that you see in nature, colors that you like, all those things will help you develop as an artist. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being amazing YouTube followers, and I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving and day, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.